Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, I salute you. We're saluting the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, the fleet is ready for the exercise. I salute you, comrade officers. Comrades, thank you for your detailed reports. We are discussing these drills and we need them in order to ensure our combat readiness and to defend the interests of our country and our security in the Asia-Pacific region. We need to improve the military sector in this part of Russia, taking into consideration the experience we acquired as part of the special military operation. As we have mentioned already today, we mentioned the way the naval infantry has been fighting on the battlefield. It was a brigade, now it's a division, and there is no military mission that the naval infantry would not be able to perform and fulfill. And these men have been bold, professional, and heroic in their action, and they have fully fulfilled their missions, and these missions are becoming increasingly important considering the current situation in the region. And we see growing conflict potential. NATO is expanding into this region. There are new blocks that are being created. There are new deployments or planned deployments of new weapons systems that create threats for our country. And there is increasing tension in the Arctic zone, which is nearby, which includes the Northern Sea route. Russia has always and at all times and reaffirms its commitment and readiness to work together with others in benefiting from the Northern Sea route, of course, under the applicable and current international law. And there are countries that are interested in this kind of cooperation. And these countries are willing to discuss these matters with us, and we will welcome these ties with our friends and with any countries that want to be part of this very important and promising cause of expanding global logistics. I've already said that the situation is quite challenging in Asia-Pacific. There are many challenges and issues. What I want to say is want to understand the position of Japan, our neighbors. This is a country that has been using the developments in Ukraine as a pretext and without trying to understand its causes, has sanctioned Russia. For the first time in the recent military doctrines, Japan listed Russia as one of the main sources of threat. We are not threatening anyone. I would like to point that out. We do not have any claims. Well, on the contrary, Japan has territorial claims towards Russia. I'm talking about the Kurils. But the fact that Russia controls the Kurils results from the Second World War, but Russia stands for signing a peace treaty with Japan. In the mid-1950s, the USSR signed a declaration with Japan that could pave the way for signing a peace treaty. But then Japan withdrew from this declaration, and the Soviet Union had to do the same. And Russia decided to meet the aspirations of the Japanese government halfway. We revived the dialogue on the peace treaty with Japan, and from the outset, we wanted to proceed from the declaration that I've already mentioned, and I can reaffirm that at that time we had constructive relations with a number of Japanese leaders, including Shinzo Abe, who was tragically killed, and he did a lot to enable Russia and Japan to bring their positions closer together, but now we're seeing a change in this attitude. This was unprovoked. There were no reasons for our relations to evolve in this manner. This means that the proposals on improving and developing the Pacific Fleet, these proposals will get the necessary support. We need to revise and review all of the matters dealing with this agenda. All the necessary instructions will be issued to the government of the Russian Federation and the relevant agencies. Russia is ready, I would like to emphasize, is ready to work with all the neighbors, including Japan, and all the countries must know that the Pacific Fleet holds joint exercises all the time. There is another matter I wanted to raise. The commander just mentioned our operations to escort our ships. There was a decision by the European Union that I would like to bring to your attention. We see that there are countries that violate international maritime law and try to restrict navigation for civilian vessels. And they started talking about the possibility of seizing our ships and of selling the cargoes they carry. This is nothing but piracy. And if they start doing this, we will have to respond tit for tat. And we will proceed as we deem advisable, including within the area of responsibility of the Pacific Fleet. I would like to bring this to your attention. I have issued the relevant instructions to the Ministry of Defense, and I would like to ask you to report on these developments. I would like to emphasize once again that Russia wants to reinforce its security, but is always ready to work with all our neighbors. We are ready to take into consideration our mutual interest. Thank you so much, Supreme Commander-in-Chief. Our forces, the Pacific Fleet, are carrying out missions and are ready to ensure the security of the Russian Federation. The military and political situation in the region is quite tense, and it's becoming increasingly challenging. There is the destructive actions by Western countries in order to undermine the security framework and to expand the military presence and to create new political and military alliances like AUKUS. Today, we see new alliances, Squad and others. These are military and political alliances and unions. They're like NATO elements masquerading under other labels. And they're constantly increasing their presence in the region, where you see a trend when NATO is becoming increasingly involved in the Asia-Pacific region. And what we see are increasingly aggressive actions by these countries. There was a white book published on the 4th of July, reaffirming the course for militarization in Russia is defined by Japan as one of the military threats. The Minister of Defense of Japan has openly talked about the need to cancel the 3 non-nuclear principles. There are also hearings on revising Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution in order to give Japan its armed forces. The West is blocking Russia's sea trade in order to undermine its economy and to damage the Russian economy. The European Union, as part of its sanctions, cancelled the ban on selling hydrocarbons. The countries in the EU can take decisions on selling hydrocarbons from the so-called Russian shadow fleet. And the EU is trying to violate international norms.
We have analyzed in detail the current marine traffic. We know what is being transported, the character of cargo. So in the exclusive economic zone, the Russian Federation, the Kuril Islands, since 24th April till the 6th of August, we registered 1,001 ships. Of them, 379 were under unfriendly flags, including 71 tankers. 26 of them belonged to the Great Britain and 9 to France. At the same time, Western states actively use third-party flags, essentially their shadow fleet. So the assets to detain and seize shadow fleet is available, and we are ready to start this kind of missions. Thank you.